I was struck by one of the government's advisors on The Voice, artist Sally Scales. She told an event at the Australian National University, the Voices and Aborigines generally should also be consulted on these nuclear subs. Now, frankly, Greg, why an artist is on the referendum working group on this on this voice idea absolutely beats me. But what about her argument that, the Voice should be consulted on these things?
Well, I think that'll happen if we get a voice. There's no doubt about it. Everything that the government says is scaremongering and alarmism, and you're a despicable person if you raise it, is actually being promulgated by the activists in the Aboriginal cause. Now, like all of us, I have nothing but love for Australian Aborigines and want them to prosper, but they won't prosper through the Voice. The activist class which runs this thing, which is all financed by government. People say this bubbled up from the bottom. No, it didn't. Governments handed out millions and millions and millions of dollars to produce a phony activism. I mean, you give me $100 million and I'll create a movement for anything you like. But there's no doubt at all, defence bureaucrats are already wondering, quite seriously, what will happen when the Voice says we don't want nuclear reactors in the ports on our lands, or we don't want support activity for nuclear powered submarines on our lands. And it won't only be nuclear. They might say we don't want, Air Force planes conducting test activity for the Air Force over our lands. Now, in reality, I think any government would override the Voice in that circumstance, but that is a recipe for division and paralysis, which is completely crazy because there's no need for it. It means nothing. It represents nothing. It will represent a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of actual real people, and our democracy already is replete with every opportunity to make your sentiments heard. But there's no doubt the Voice will become very powerful in these debates. It will be a rent-seeking operation where it will say, well, we don't want the military here, but of course, if you pay us $100 million, we can probably overcome our conscience. This is just a disastrous recipe.
Yes. Oh, Greg, you're too right. And we're being snowed about just how much we'll have to say. Greg Sheridan, thank you so much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it.